Welcome, I'm Trina Medves. This is our first episode of Trina's Tasty Treats, and today we're making simple protein energy bites. If you don't have a protein powder, totally fine. I recommended my favorite protein powder because it's super clean, it's plant-based, and it's family-friendly, so your kids can have it. Different protein powders your kids can't have. It's not safe for them, so make sure that you're investing in that, and this way, when you make them, your kids get to eat them. So we have 4 ingredients here. We'll have 3 except for if you're not using the protein powder. We've got the little rice crisps. I buy organic gluten-free because we have celiacs. I'm using peanut butter. You can decide to use any nut butter or nut-free alternative. And I have some honey. So what I've done in advance is I've scooped out the honey. So our first ingredient, I'm actually going to pour it the opposite way that it's on the recipe because I want to show you that all of my recipes are meant to be easy, simple. You can reverse it. So it says to go from nut butter to honey to the protein. We're going to actually put in these guys first. So what I've done with the honey is over here in my little, I have a little pan here. I've just melted it. It's a lot easier to stir and mix kind of evenly. So if you kind of have sticky honey and it's not that nice liquid, just go ahead and just put it on the stove for, a nice low and let it kind of sit there for a moment. So that's what I did. I just put it on a nice low temperature and I just let it simmer in the back. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go the opposite of this. We're going to go from the bottom, kind of move around on this recipe. So this is 2 cups. So I measured it out ahead of time. So I would be a step ahead of you. 2 of these, 2 cups of the Rice Krispies or whatever kind of cereal you have there. And really, this would probably work with any kind of little cereal. Like there's lots of different types of healthy cereals. Least ingredients possible is what you want. And this is how I've made it completely gluten-free. So we're putting in 2 cups. So 2 cups of the puffs. And you're not going to mess it up in any order that you do. So if you put anything else in, that's okay. It just sometimes gets a little bit hard to get it from the bottom. So you really have to muscle and scoop it out, okay? So we're doing 2 cups. Then what I'm going to do, so make sure you have your honey in the background and it's not on high, so you don't want anything to burn. I like quick, fast, and simple. We're going to do a 1/2 cup of any nut butter. Now, here's my first tip. Number 1, get your butters, your nut butters, and store them upside down in the fridge. Because if you buy all natural, that's the other thing, buy all natural nut butters, okay? Upside down in the fridge, that's going to stir all of that oil because how you see all that oil in it? It's sometimes really gross for kids. They're like, what's it look like that? Instead of stirring it, this is how it'll turn out. It separates and it's going to make it super simple. And when it comes out of the fridge, it is easy to get out. I like fast, easy, simple. My kids love cooking. Shouldn't say all of them. One of them really loves cooking. So she gets to do a lot of different things. And I like to think of easy. So we're doing 1/2 cup. I usually grab a butter knife because again, I want simple, I want easy, I want fast. So we just measure it up there. If you're not 100% sure, like I can make this recipe without these measuring cups. If you're not sure, you don't have any measuring cups, it's kind of like I would like to think of like a little hockey puck, amount. So if you're kind of like pulling it out, you're not exactly sure how much, you can put a little bit more, just like a hockey puck. Or if you're like, where is my scooper? So that's it. Super simple. So we're going to just dump that right inside. And I use both because things get sticky. I use both the little butter knife. And then I also use a little spatula to get the rest of it off. So I like to not waste anything. So I'll set that aside. So just scoop it out as best as you can. This is probably one of the stickiest recipes that I could have given you first off. So if you like this, you're going to hang around, okay? So all this stuff is quite sticky, and honestly, you should see, I did a Facebook Live. Oh my goodness, I had to go with it. I was like, this is stuck to my hands, and I didn't have a bowl of water. So don't be afraid to make a mess in the kitchen and get everything that you can as best as you can into that bowl. Super easy. You still with me? Yes? I see some of the kids making it. This is perfect because kids can make these and you could put like This is just this is a little friend tip for all the kids out there. You can put little sprinkles in it. You can put a couple little mini chocolate chips in it, roll them in and make it fun. So just have fun with this. It's meant to be simple. Okay, so now if you have your honey in the background, and you can use maple syrup, so I know there's vegans and different things, or maybe you just run out of ingredients. These are great staples to have. So if you have I'm going to admit someone in here. If you have this cereal around all the time, it is great for so many recipes. Most of us usually have honey. If not, maple syrup is fine. Some kind of nut butter, you always have this, and you can make it super simple for your kids, and you can play around and add different things. So we're going to add the honey in there. So I like to kind of make it around the bowl so that it blends well. So don't just dump it into one spot. Try to kind of make it go all around so that it's splitting in there. Sometimes I use a little bit less. So what did we say? We said a half a cup. Sometimes I use a little bit less. For those of you that are sugar addicted, okay, many people are, that's your palate. You could put a tiny bit more if you wanted to. I always like to start with the minimal amount of sugar. Now, if you find that this recipe is too sweet for you, put less. If you find that it's not sweet enough, stay with half a cup, period, and then kind of put a little bit less. So what I do is I don't quite, I'll show you this. This was the honey one. I don't quite fill it all the way to the top. So this is a half a cup. I kind of go a little bit less because we are very addicted to sugar, and our goal here is that we want to try to reduce the amount of sugar that we can. But having said that, this is way healthier than any treat you could buy at the store. You don't even have to make these as a ball. You could flatten it out in a pan, make it like a Rice Krispie. This is a healthier version, and spread it out on a little, whatever, even pan or banana pan, it doesn't really matter. I have a little cutting board here, so you can see this. I'm going to roll them all into balls and set them right on that, and then put them in the fridge. So they're a little bit harder, but you can eat them right away. So we've got that half, or we did a half a cup of the honey. Now, if you have it, it's not necessary. It's just a great way to bump the nutrition in with the protein powder, but it is not necessary. So what do we got? I said 2 scoops of this. So I'm going to try to sprinkle it around the bowl so that it's not just in one big, huge chunk. Okay. So kind of sprinkle that around. If you don't have it, no worries at all. It's not going to be a big, huge loss or anything. So I've just got it all inside. You could sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon. This is where it gets sticky. Okay, so you could do a little bit of cinnamon. So it gets hard with these. You might break a spatula. So if you have a big spoon like this, or you have a wooden spoon or anything, or even one of these, I brought different things. Don't stress about what you don't have. I'm going to use the spatula to get off as much of the goody stuff as I can. Things like cinnamon would be great. So if you wanted to maybe play around with this, you could put some cinnamon in it. My kids love to kind of say, Mom, make my recipes better. So they're always giving me little things I never thought about. So if you had a little cinnamon, you could put it in there. But if you want to keep it super simple, we literally did honey, or maple syrup, any kind of nut butter that you want. Almond butter is one of the greatest ones. It's very healthy, but sometimes, people don't like that one. So you can use peanut butter and your protein powder if you had it. So we're going to just, again, take your time. So if you're ahead or behind, don't worry about it. We're going to mix it up really well. Now, here's a tip for you, because I'm in the fitness industry. All you people out there, stir with both your right and your left arm so you can work both sides of your muscles, okay? I had to tell you that. I want you to use both hands. So all you righties out there, I know it's probably really hard on your left. I'm actually a lefty, so I know how to do things with both hands because I was forced to in school. They didn't have left-handed scissors. The doors didn't open on the left-hand side. So again, a fitness tip while we're doing this. So you're going to see a lot of stuff is going to be stuck at the bottom. That's why I just started with the rice crisps on the bottom, because I was like, well, I think I found a better way. So you can reverse your recipe. It does not matter. So you're going to really mash it in with your left and right arm, okay? I want to see you really using both sides so that we can tone your biceps and your triceps and everything. And you can say to yourself, you know what, I had a workout this morning. This one is a real workout because they're really sticky. So just kind of stir it all around. Try to get as much as you can from the bottom, like get all that good stuff from the bottom that gets stuck. If you had a little cinnamon, you could sprinkle it in there. That's so good for your blood sugar, everything. Cinnamon is such a powerful, powerful spice. So don't be afraid. This is where I tell my kids, we make these, sometimes we'll put like a little sprinkle in it, a little chocolate chip. You could even put one chocolate chip on top because, you know, it's fun for your kids and for adults too. So stir it all around. How's it going? Everybody get it in? And if you have any questions, unmute yourself. Put it in the chat. This is meant to be interactive. It's so fun. So these are the things I love to do, these simple things on Sundays, or I'll try to get my kids involved because you know what? It's so easy. You're going to have these ready. And when you feel like you need a sweet treat or you want to reach for something, these are way healthier and so much cheaper than buying in the store. So this is what we kind of want it to look like. I'll show you once I make sure that I get all of it. I like to make sure I like really scrape your bowl. So it kind of looks like this big ball. Whoop, see this? Should look like a big ball. Now you could totally make these in a Rice Krispie pan. One of the things that I love is doing this as a Rice Krispie instead, because there's so many additives in marshmallows. They are not the most optimal choice. So this can make it a little more fun, a little more healthy. Your kids will like it. And if you find that it's just really sticking a lot, maybe just add a little bit more of your syrup, your maple syrup, or your honey. So if you find it's really sticky, which it should be, I'm just going to show you here. So I'm going to wipe my fingers in this little bowl. So this is what I learned and why I went on Amazon and bought these. I'll just show you. This little scooper here that I've got, you can see as I'm dropping it all over. I just scoop it and then I kind of press it. And again, none of us are Pinterest. I am not looking to be a Pinterest mom and be like, look at my perfect little rose balls. Who cares? But look how it turns out. If you do it with your hands, it's going to be really sticky. But that's the fun of it. The last time I had all the ingredients on my hands, this time when I used a scooper, it's a little bit sticky. Try one. So try your first one. Oh my God, so good. I'm just going to wash my hands because I'm making it for the rest of my family. So give one a little try there. Oh my God, they're so tasty. If you felt like it needed a little bit more of the Rice Crisps, sprinkle a little bit in. You cannot mess this up at all. Oh my gosh. Did anyone make it yet? Give me a thumbs up if you tried it. Do you like it? They're tasty. So these are much better than store-bought stuff. I like to always say, so we'll just start to kind of scoop them. If you're using your fingers or your hands, all you do is like take a little bit out, so have a spoon, and then just roll them. You might have a hard time because they kind of separate a little bit because our hands are warm, especially if you're using your hands. They might have a little bit of a hard time first sticking. That's normal. Just do as best as you can, and then we'll put it in the fridge. But snacks nowadays for kids and even for us, everything is so expensive at the grocery store. I don't know about you, but when I go, I have 3 kids, so family of 5, and everything is so much more expensive. So whenever I look at stuff, I think, can I make that? So if you have something you constantly buy for yourself or your kids, send me an email and tell me, and we'll see if we can make a way healthier version of that and a way cheaper version. That's the goal. So all you're doing, you're going to make these in those little balls. It doesn't matter if they're perfect. If you have kids, let them do it. It's even better. It's more fun because then they get to do it themselves and we're empowering them. I have a kid in university now and he has to do all the cooking himself. So it comes very quickly, right? How's it looking? Does anyone have one of these little protein energy bite balls to show me? So again, I'm just making them like, you know, a little, oh, there it is. Good. You did a good job. Oh, look at that. Why does yours look so dark and yummy? Yours looks really, I don't know. I like that color. You guys see how easy this is? Is anyone afraid to cook and try things? Like, does anybody feel like they're a little nervous to do stuff? Yeah. I always just say, like, try. So I've got a recipe book that I've been making for years because I'm one to kind of make things and not actually follow a recipe ever. And then all my clients said, I want a recipe book. So I had to go back and actually write the ingredients down and do all of that. So don't be afraid. Anything that you can make on your own is so much healthier. There's not going to be chemicals in them. Like marshmallows have a lot of yucky stuff in them. That's one of the things, if I'm doing anything with a marshmallow for my kids, like we want to do traditional crisps, I will buy the really good non-additives, like there's no animal byproducts in it and different things, just to, you know, really lessen the load of the chemicals that we eat and all the added sugar. I'd rather us add our own natural sugar, control it. So let's see how usually it says it does about 18 energy bites. Honestly, it's how big you do it and you decide what you like. I like little smaller bites. I like smaller cookies and different things. So are you doing it with your hands or are you doing it with these? Ooh, look at that plate. I love it. And of course, once you're done, you get to do all the cleanup. We will not be doing that together. You could always, so little things that could add different nutrients and different flavors that you can play around with. So now that you have this recipe, you can play around with it. Like say you're stuck with whatever kind of puff cereal that you have. Do you remember when I was little, I remember we used to have these puffs. I don't remember what they're called, but they still sell them at the grocery store. You could throw that in. You can put any kind of little cereal, see how it works. You might have to add maybe a little bit more or less of something, but they're delicious. And what you'll do after is you'll just put them in the fridge, save them. They'd never last long in my house, but you can add things like this. Like I said, the cinnamon, you can try different cocoa powder, maybe cacao nibs. Like there's different things that if there's anything you like, don't be afraid to, you know, modify this recipe, do it yourself. And if you added any kind of protein powder, again, if you have kids, don't add anything that's not safe for them. So just leave it out. But if you added the protein powder, you're getting that little extra kick of some protein in your diet. So you have one of these. It's your sweet treat. So I'm at how many? And it's not unhealthy for you, right? You want to make sure that you're trying to do the best that you can when you can. You don't have to be perfect. Okay, so let's see. How many did you guys make? I want you to tell me in the chat. Count them up if you're done. If you're not, don't worry about it. The whole point is we do this together. You go on your own time. I did a little bit of early prep, so I might be a little bit ahead. How many did you get? I got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 times 3. Tell me your math, kids. 6 times 3 is how many? So look, I'll show you my little tray here. Look, we're learning math, we're learning fitness because we're spinning. You know what I didn't tell you? I didn't tell you to scoop with the other arm. 6 times 3, kids. Oh, some of you got 24 balls. Okay, so let's see. So I got 6 times 3. I actually ended up making 20 because I have one at the side here. So I ended up getting 20. Now, a couple little tips. Throw everything in your bowl. Get it out of the way. Easiest way to clean it is to throw some water in it and let it sit. So I ended up getting a good, there's 19 on this tray, and then I had the one that I test tried. Look how simple that is. If we're not talking and we're not, you know, doing anything, they are a fast make. So let me see how many you got. Show them up to me. 28 bites, 36. I doubled the recipe. Nice. That was really smart. 24, 16, 12 larger. Mine is super powdery. Should I add PB? Did you figure that out? So if it is super powdery, and you find that it's not quite sticking right, do not be afraid to add a little bit more of the peanut butter. Like that's kind of a liquid, even though it's not liquid, I call it a liquid ingredient. You could add a touch more of the honey, right? Play around with it. You could also try a little bit of plant-based milk, sometimes like a teaspoon. Sometimes that'll help in recipes. It's the cheater way. If you drink dairy, you can use dairy. Okay, let me see. I'm Canadian. I always have maple syrup. Yeah. I need a healthy snack that satisfies some for Halloween candy. Bridge is a huge Halloween junkie. So, oh, and you know what you could also do? Thank you for that comment. You can also, if you wanted to take this a little step further, you can melt some chocolate, choose some good healthy chocolate on top of your little pan. So I would put it right in. Look at that honey that's left over. You either double boil it with a little pot. So you can do a pot with an actual like water underneath, put your chocolate inside a little pot and let it steam, because sometimes it gets stuck in a pan. Either way, then you could dunk the tops in some chocolate. So if you're feeling like you want an extra little kick, look at, I can see, I can see you already. So you could either roll the whole thing, like I would use tongs and just kind of dunk it, but you'd want to make sure they're a little bit warm. So don't do, or a little bit cold because they're kind of warm right now. But you could roll it in a little tip of chocolate on top and it'll give you that extra little kick. And if you do, use dark chocolate because you've already got the maple syrup or the honey, so it's already sweet. Dark chocolate has so many health benefits. So 70% cocoa, because if you mix it with this, even if you don't like dark chocolate, it's going to give it that sweet kick because it's going to pick up the honey and the maple syrup. There's so many things that you can do with this. So I like to take one easy recipe. We could make this completely different next week. It's a pan, you cut it out and it's little squares. You wrap it up and you can send it to school with the kids. If you're using a nut-free butter, if you're not, keep it for a snack at home. Do not send it to school, right? But you could have the little, you could do a mini chocolate chip. You can double boil the 70% dark chocolate. There's so many fun little things you can do with this. And if you think of anything, like I could roll this in cocoa powder. If I want a little bit of a more bitter taste, do not be afraid. So how does it feel? How does it taste, first of all? Did you like it? And these are so easy. You could put this on your Sunday prep, your whatever day prep, and then you have a whole bunch of little healthy protein bites for your family. If there's no protein in it, then they're still healthy bites. They're a little bit of a treat and you get to enjoy. Yeah? Does anyone have any questions? So let me see. So hopefully you figured it out with the super powdery. Yes, let me know. Too yummy. Thanks, Trina. You're so welcome. So I'm gonna pause the recording here and say I'll see you next time.